Esiet sveicināti raidījuma ciklā Uzzini, pirms, dodies, Droša darba ceļvedis Eiropā. Mani sauc Andris Segliņš, un es esmu Nodarbinātības valsts aģentūras Eures projektu vadītājs. Raidījumos mēs apskatām jautājumus, kurus ir būtiski noskaidrot pirms došanās uz kādu no Eiropas valstīm, un apskatīsim tādus jautājumus kā darba tirgus situācija, reģistrācijas procedūras ierodoties attiecīgajā valstī, darba līguma slēgšana, darba līgumā un dzīvošanas nosacījumi. Katrs raidījums ir veltīts noteiktai valstī, un šodien mēs runāsim par Vāciju. Un uz sarunu esmu aicinājis Vācijas nodarbinātības aģentūras starptautisko darbiekārtošanas konsultantus Veru Onenbriku un Oliveru Rungi. Hello, Vera and Oliver.
Hi, Andres.
I would like to start our conversation about some general information about your labor market in Germany. And Germany is known as the largest economy in Europe and also largest labor market. And please tell us what are the current trends of your labor market and what employees are demanding, and maybe what are also some shortages if you have that.
Yeah, of course we do have a lot of shortages. So as you said, Germany has one of the largest labor markets, and right now the unemployment rate is very low. In June it was 5.5%. It is rising a little bit, but that is due to the overall crisis. I think it's the same everywhere in Europe or maybe the world even, but it is still very, very low, and the demographic change is still there. There's no denying it. So people in Germany are getting older, and there are not enough people graduating or leaving school. So the gap of the open vacancies and the people that are suited for these vacancies is getting bigger and bigger. And for right now, for example, we have around 769,000 open vacancies published in our employment agency in the job board. One of the biggest shortages is in the IT sector. So we have more than 137 open vacancies in this industry alone. So there's a lot of potential for newcomers, for people who want to work in Germany. And IT is not the only industry or sector where we are looking for skilled professionals. We are also looking for people who work in the so-called green jobs. That is also an industry that is fastly growing in Germany. So there's a lot of potential as well. Of course, healthcare professions, I think that's the same everywhere as well. Doctors and then engineers, of course, that also goes a little bit with the IT field. But also people who learn the craft that are very much in demand in Germany as well. We have a lot of vocational trainings or spots for vocational trainings that could not be filled, so that could also be an option. And the transport sector as well is looking for people. And last but not least, also social professions, for example, preschool teachers, are in high demand in Germany. So as you can see, there's a large field, a lot of opportunities here in Germany.
And do you have maybe also some regional differences in labor market, or it's or demand is in all country?
It is in all of the country, but for example, IT specialists or engineers, that's more in the south of Germany, as we have a lot of companies in this sector, in this industry, in this area. So, for example, if you're looking for an engineering position, then maybe the south of Germany is a better place to start looking than the north. That does not mean that there are no jobs further north, but yeah, there are some tendencies, you could say. Yeah.
Yes, we see that a lot of opportunities and in different business sectors there are in a German labor market. Then if we talk further about looking for a job in Germany, then if someone is interested in German labor market, then what is the best way and where and how to look for a job in Germany?
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to take a look for a job in Germany. I think it's always a very good idea to go to the website makeitingermany.com. You can take a look in Google or Bing or other platforms, and then you will get there. This platform, makeitingermany.com, has a quick check tool on training and employment opportunities in Germany, assistance on finding a job, and information on living and working in Germany. Information is available not only in German, but also in English, Polish, French, and in other 15 languages. A tip here, you can contact advisors directly via makeitingermany.com. The advisors will support you in finding and applying for a job and provide guidance on living conditions in Germany. They speak English and possible other languages. So maybe there is an advisor that speaks also Slavic languages. You can also register for web tutorials on specific topics, such as the recognition procedure or living conditions in Germany. And here you can register at www.arbeitsagentur.de. The link we will show you under this video. And there are also on this platform arbeitsagentur.de, you will find Germany's biggest job portal for the whole country. And there are jobs in German and in the English language. Another opportunity is the EURES portal publishes jobs from organizations that are explicitly looking for job seekers from the EURES area. Companies also publish vacancies on daily newspapers, in private online job sites, and on their own websites. It is a nice idea when you publish your personal profile online on social media, like LinkedIn or in Germany, especially Sync.de. There are business networks and there are a lot of job portals you can use for an own profile. And in this way, instead, companies will be aware of you and will be able to contact you directly. And another way, it is also common in Germany to send speculative applications. Private placements agencies offer another alternative to finding a job. They look for suitable positions for you. Inquire in advance about charges if you want to use the service of a private placement agency.
Yes, thank you. And you also mentioned that this social networks, is it a popular practice now in Germany to use social networks for job search and also for presenting yourself?
Yeah, that's true. And the best platform here, there are a lot for, but in the most vacancies and the most profilers are on LinkedIn, I think.
Yeah.
And the next is sing.de for especially the German country.
Okay, and you mentioned websites we will put also on our chat box and will be available for our viewers. Yes, you already also touched this question about languages. You mentioned that your website is available in different languages. And of course, if we are going on and looking for a job in another country, then this issue of knowledge of foreign languages is very important. And how about Germany? Of course, German is the main language, and how it is important to know, and maybe on what level you should know German language to be successful in job search in Germany.
It is important. It is good to speak fluent German. You don't need the best professional skills, but to speak a fluent German is a good chance to get a good job here. For some jobs, it is enough to speak English. So English is the next language after German that the most people speak here. It's a German language in this case, and so it's easier for the most Germans to learn English, and the most jobs need minimum of English, but it's better to speak German fluently.
Okay, that means knowledge of German language is very important.
Yeah.
Yes. Then next step, if for instance I have found a suitable job offer, next step is to apply for a job. And what is the common practice of applying for a job in Germany?
Yeah, the common practice is in Germany very structured. We love structure, and that is also we find it in our application system. So in Germany, a written job application normally consists of a cover letter, a CV, and here take attention with a photo. And this photo is especially a business photo with a clear background. And also in your application, it's good to have copies of qualifications, certificates, evidence of professional experience, and work samples where applicable. The cover letter should not run to more than one side and should briefly and concisely express the following 3 things: why you are looking for a job, what interests you about the post advertised, and why you think you are the best person for this job. Explain why you want to work in Germany, and your cover letter expressing the hope to be invited to a personal or a telephone or a video interview, and of course with the German phrase mit freundlichen Grüßen, in English, yours sincerely. For special the CV, here use the table format, should not be more than 2 pages long and should be written in reverse chronological order, meaning that the most recent information is listed first. Divide your CV into the following sections: contact information, employment record, schooling and vocational training, and where appropriate, tertiary education, language skills, and here it's good to use written and speak fluently or in the business context or mother tongue. Other professional knowledge and experience like computer skills. Then we have a bit special not for the hobbies are not very important for your CV. Only if you have non-occupational activities that make sense to put it down in your CV. And do not forget to sign and date your CV. We also recommend that you use the Europass format at europa.eu/Europass. We give you the link in this video. Enclose with your application copies of supporting evidence for all training and continuing education, periods of practical training and previous jobs that are mentioned in your application. In some cases, for example, when you applying to a small business, you should have your qualifications and work references translated into German. Even if you already have professional experience, you will often have to enclose your school certificates with the application. Despite current trends towards anonymity in selection procedures, a friendly application photograph with a neutral background remains part of a job application in Germany. It is attached either to the cover sheet of the application folder or to the top right-hand corner of the CV. We have examples on the websites. We give you with the links. For now, there are more and more employers in Germany that only accept applications made by email or on their company's own online application form. When applying by email, it is advisable to compile a single PDF document containing all your application documents, such as cover letter, CV, certificates, references, and photograph, and send this as one attachment. You should ensure that the size of the file does not exceed more than 2 megabytes. If an online application form is used, if necessary, upload the various application documents as separate PDF file. You can often also request the name of the contact person by telephone. This means that your cover letter and application documents can be addressed personally. So tip from me is, if you know the number of the company, take a call and ask who is the human resources person, and then you can write the name in this application form. And yeah, if you want to apply, I wish you good luck.
Yes, thank you for so wide information and a lot of these small things how to apply. It's very useful to know how it is how we need to do in Germany. For instance, if some job seekers are already in Germany, is still a way how to apply to contact directly employer, or it's better to, and anyway, it's better to send application by email?
It depends. It depends. If you are on a job research, there are some special texts, and then you see what the human resources department want for your application. The most want email with one PDF, clear structured, all your documents in one PDF, or some have those special programs for the application process for those companies.
Yeah, may I just maybe add, it also depends on the profession, of course. If you're working in hotel and gastronomy, for example, you might also just drop in and hand in your documents as well. They might even see it as a plus to meet you in person. So it depends a little bit on your occupation, on your profession.
Yeah, thank you for additional information. And yes, then if our job application has been successful and employer chooses our candidacy and are interested to offer a job, then next step is to travel to Germany. And what is registration procedures when someone arrive in Germany? This main and most important things.
Yeah, first of all, it depends also if you want to stay long term or only for a short period of time. Of course, EU citizens can stay up to 3 months without registering, but if you're planning to come and stay here for longer, you have to register, of course. And if you rent an apartment anyway, you have to register with the local office. Within the first weeks after moving in, you will get a document from your landlord saying so-and-so has moved into my flat, and with this you can register at the local city hall. Sometimes it's possible to make an appointment online, so if you have already found an apartment from abroad, you can make the appointment and then do it straight away, because this registered address will help you with all the further steps. So once you do have this registered German address, you can register with a health insurance provider. It is mandatory to have health insurance in Germany, so you can choose one of the many providers. We recommend to do a little research. They offer mainly the same benefits, but some are different. So if you have special needs, for example, it is worth it to do a little research and then choose a health insurance provider. For the tax number, for example, you will get it automatically after you register. The tax office will send it to you within 2 weeks, roughly. And for the social security number, you will get that once you start working. You just tell your employer which health insurance provider you have chosen, and then they will register you with the social security system here, and then you will get the number as well. Also, if you want to open a bank account, you will need that address first, but if you have a European bank account, that's fine as well. So yeah, the registered address is sort of the first step, and then you can build on that.
Yeah, then the first step is to register address, and then we can follow to the next steps.
Yeah,
okay, thank
exactly.
you. And of course, when we start employment, then it's necessary to conclude a working contract. And please tell us how employment contract is concluded in Germany, and what are these main working conditions which should be included in employment contract.
Yeah, that's a bit special in this case. You have two options. A permanent employment contract may be entered into orally or in writing. In the case of a fixed term contract, however, the expiry date must always be set down in writing. If that is done, the employment contract is deemed to be open-ended. The written form is compulsory for apprenticeship contract. If a written employment contract has not been concluded, the company is required by the Proof of Employment Act, in German Nachweisgesetz, to set out the main working conditions in writing no later than 1 month after the agreed start of employment. Sign them and hand them over to the employee. Please think about your own safety and enclose a written contract. So a written contract is always the better option for you. It's safer. And a written contract should contain the following details: name and address of the employee, name and address of the company, place of work, description of duties, date on which employment commenced, duration of probationary period. In the case of fixed-term employment, duration of the employment relationships. In the case of permanent employment, notice period and date of termination. Weekly or daily working hours, amount of remuneration and of any supplements, payment date and method, leave allowance, and at last the reference to collective agreements and to works and service agreements.
Thank you. And regarding this remuneration, is it regulated usually by collective agreements, or employer can decide what amount to pay?
It depends on the job as well. Some are bound to a collective agreement and some aren't, but there's a statutory minimum wage in Germany which has to be met, and that is 12 euros at the moment. It's supposed to rise next year a little bit more, but yeah, that is the absolute minimum you have to get.
Yes, and Germany is a country with this minimum wage because there are in Europe many countries where without state regulated minimum wage. This is also important. Yes, then if we are going to work in Germany, then another important thing, first thing is to find a job, and of course important thing is also about housing. How easy is to find housing in Germany, and what you can advise how to search for some accommodation?
Unfortunately, it's not that easy to find accommodation, especially if you're looking to live in a bigger city. Munich, Berlin, Frankfurt, they're very popular, but it's also very, very hard to find a good apartment or any apartment that is actually. So be prepared that you have to look at a lot of apartments, or that you have to send out a lot of requests, unfortunately. Also, it is much more expensive in those bigger cities. So maybe it's an idea to look a little bit further to the countryside or villages. Well, we don't really have like tiny small villages, but the smaller cities might be easier to find something. Also with the housing costs and cost of living in general are a little bit higher in the south of Germany than in the north, and in the west it's more expensive than in the east. But usually salaries are also higher in those regions. So it kind of keeps in a balance. You could say that you pay around 30 to 40% of your income for housing and utilities, of course. To look for an apartment, there are many websites and apps, of course, that you can use. I think no one uses journals and magazines anymore, but mostly it's done online. There's a good section on Make It in Germany as well, if you need further information on looking for housing, or in the Euros portal as well. There's a section as well. Maybe it's also important to know when you look for an apartment and see prices, we have a difference with cold. It's called Kaltmiete, the cold and warm. And then the warm will include heating and water, which is not included in the cold rental rent. So yeah, it's more expensive, the warm one. Yeah.
And what is the practice that the employer provides some support or provide accommodation?
Yeah, that can be the case, especially if you're working in hospitality. For example, there are a few seasonal job offers on the coast of Germany, then there's usually accommodation included. But also some employers are very eager to help new employees. It's always, if you do find a job, it's always good to start with the employer, ask them if they know someone, if they know any tips, maybe they can ask around in the company if someone knows something. So yeah, a lot of done on connection as well. So that is a good way to start. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, then yes, always ask about employer possibilities to give some support and maybe even advice.
Absolutely, yeah.
To find appropriate accommodation. Let's talk about some costs of living. Maybe you can mention some examples. How Germany, how is expensive or not expensive?
Yeah, I already mentioned that cost of living is a little higher in the south. That's not only for housing, but in general. But yeah, cost of living is rising in Germany as well. So, but you could say it's around 30% more expensive than in Latvia. So I have a few prices to compare. For example, if you go and buy bread in a bakery, that's around 4 to 5 euros, also depending on the bread you want. Milk is 1 liter around 1 euro. 10 eggs can be around 3 to 5 if you want to go organic. And then most important in Germany, our beer. If you buy it in the supermarket, it's around 2 euros for 1 liter. If you go to a pub, you get a pint for around 4 to 5 euros. And if you want to go to the cinema afterwards, that will cost you around 10 to 15 euros. So to give you an impression.
Yes, it's some impression about the prices in Germany. Thank you. And at the end of our conversation, I would like to ask a question now. Why to choose Germany as a destination country for working and living?
That's a very good question. Apart from all the huge amount of work opportunities that we have here, and Germany is also a very multicultural country. A lot of people living from abroad here, especially if you move to Berlin. I said it's expensive, but it's still a very exciting city, very international city, for example. We also have a very good university education if you want to come in and study here, or if you bring children who want to study here. We also have very good universities and research programs. Our dual vocational training system, is very good and unique, I think, where you go to school and learn in a company as well. So that's maybe also a reason to come. And then you might not think it, but we do have some beautiful nature as well in Germany. So a lot of hikes and stuff that you can do. We have a lot of cultural life, you could say, cultural activities, museums, and so on, art exhibitions, music, very, very popular in Germany, you could say. And of course, Germans are very straightforward. If you ask them something, you will get the answer straight away. It might be a little, you might need a little getting used to, but we always say Germans are hard to befriend, but once you do make a friend in German, you have a friend for life. So.
Thank you, Vera, and thank you, Vera and Oliver, for information, useful information, and important information. And I will thank you also to our viewers. Paldies visiem skatītājiem par piedalīšanos mūsu raidījumā. Un, ja jums ir nepieciešama kāda papildus informācija gan par darba meklēšanu vai par sociālās apdrošināšanas jautājumiem, starpvalstu nodokļu jautājumiem, gan dodoties uz ārvalstīm, gan atgriežoties no ārvalstīm, tad aicinu jūs sazināties ar mūsu Nodarbinātības valsts aģentūras EURES konsultantiem un centīsimies jums sniegt atbildes uz jūsu individuāliem vai arī jautājumiem. Paldies vēlreiz visiem un uz tikšanos nākošos raidījumos.